for doing this.
No problem.
If you want to introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, my name is Hamza. I am originally from Iraq. I moved here about 10 years ago, and I'm excited to do this interview.
Awesome. So, what kind of foods do you eat that are indigenous to like your culture from Iraq, if any?
Actually, when I go home, that's all we eat. It's all traditional food, home cooked meals by my mom. One of my favorites is called biryani, which is sort of an Indian cuisine as well, but with an Iraqi twist, and like spices that we add on makes it more of an Arabic cuisine. And it is basically rice. It is basically rice, potatoes, and like all a bunch of spices that are extremely good. And there's some chicken that's mixed with it as well. And that's one of my favorite dishes that we eat very often, especially when I go back home and visit my family.
Nice. Do you eat anything like that down here, or do you just kind of...
I try to make it myself. It's usually not the best, just because of the bundle of spices that my mom tend to have and add to the food, which makes it a bit difficult for me to make here. But there are some restaurants around here that I go every now and then to check and like to eat food and kind of get back to. Yeah.
Which one's down here?
There's one on the strip. It's called Aban's
is
Kitchen.
that...
Yeah, that's a Yemenian food, and it's very, very similar to Iraqi food, and it's
I've heard a lot of good
pretty
stuff.
traditional. Yeah. It's really pretty authentic.
Nice. So, in your culture, in the Iraqi food culture, are there any eating habits or rituals that are specific to that culture?
Could be. I didn't really grow up into that one, but if you are looking for something different, it would be sitting down on the floor and eating, and trying to use your right hand when you eat. I'm lefty, so I use my left hand, but it's preferred to eat with your right hand in terms of, you can go back in history, it's just other things we shouldn't worry about. And eating with your hand is big as well. And rice was everything, every meal. Like literally have rice and meat every lunch. And another thing I would say is probably the time they eat. So they eat breakfast, lunch, and there's like in between thing, and then dinner. So they have about 3 to 4 meals a day.
Moving on to like the holidays of your culture, if you could like, what's like the most important, just brief description of like the most important holiday?
Most important holiday, I would say Eid. It's a Muslim holiday. It should be coming up in the next month. As of right now, we're in Ramadan, or if you're familiar with Ramadan, this is another food kind of holiday where you fast for 1 month from sunrise to sunset, and you're not supposed to eat from sunrise till sunset. So right now it's happening, and it will carry on for the next for a whole month. And that's when people kind of get together and eat when it sunsets, and a lot of good and traditional food as well. Following that is that one holiday to celebrate that 1 month of fasting. It's called Eid, and it's basically just family getting together and eating breakfast, because they haven't had breakfast for a whole month since they can't eat since sunrise to sunset. So that's a big one, and it also involves a lot of food and getting with family and kind of celebrating that.
Gotcha.
1 month of fasting.
So do you fast while you're down here?
I try to. When I go home, I definitely get into the feels of like the family and the tradition, so I do it there. But here, with being in school and having sports, and I just cannot. Because you can't even drink water. It's not just eating.
Really?
It's any smoking, drinking, all of that. You cannot from sunrise to sunset. Chewing gum, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. All that.
Okay, so what's something that's considered like the most disrespectful in your food culture?
Being offered something and not accepting it would probably be the most disrespectful thing you can do. My parents hate that, and I know a lot of the Arab culture don't accept that as well.
Gotcha. So what? And then the flip side of that, what would be considered like the most respectful thing?
Accepting the food you have been offered, so that's a big one, and just being respectful to your surrounding and people around you, especially when you're eating. And a great thing that you would do if you are being brought in as a guest is to bring a dish with you, kind of represent who you are, and a dessert or a meal would be nice and respectful. So.
What kind of desserts do you guys have? Like, traditional?
Dessert-wise, honestly, it's not that different. It's mostly the same. There's something called, what is it called? I cannot think of it right now. Yeah, it's really good, and they eat it a lot during Ramadan. What is it called? I'll think about it later.
Okay.
No, yeah, I do not know. But most of it cake and just ice cream and ice cream cakes, pies. Yeah, it's pretty similar. I mean, sometimes people get creative with like pudding and other stuff, but most of it is pretty close to American because that's where they adapted it from. So,
Gotcha. Was there anything else that you want to share or want anybody else to know about your food culture or about you?
Try to eat other foods. Try to experience other cultures. It's a beautiful thing. Kind of going back and forth and seeing what people are eating and what people aren't eating. It's just be brave enough to try anything, and you might like it.
It's a big thing.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Hamza.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.